In Book 4, she defeated Azotl and secured control of the Amulet of Atonement, dispelling the dark magic of the Quetzalcoatl Empress, and thus protecting the basin with the Radiant Shield of Razdan.
But the Radiant Shield of Razdan is vulnerable to the dark enchantment of the Rings of Scorchero!
But are you forgetting that the rings were scattered to the four corners of Tenochtitlan, thus rendering the dark enchantment powerless?
Only if you assume that the rings have yet to be retrieved, and the ring CaliAzian just stole isn't the last to completely restore the Dark Tower and its cruel hold on Tenochtitlan.
And I am now totally confused.
Hey you lot, Brass Polish here. I decided against doing Flutterbrudder because even though Rainbow had a prominent role in that episode, she didn't really contribute much. We don't glean much from her apart from her long-standing relationship with Fluttershy's parents and the fact that she carries a torch to Zephyr Breeze. But this episode was unavoidable. You know you're not on the Wonderbolt's compound runway. You can fly across that. There you go. Oh no, how is she possibly gonna get away from them? If they wanted a suspenseful opening, they could have had Daring do dodge blobs of lava dripping from stalactites above her, grab the amulet of Kolakon or whatever it's called, and fly out only to realize that there was a cobra clinging to the amulet the whole time. This is the kind of nitpicker I am. I often feel that stories, plot points, and segments of episodes are good, but could have been better if a little more time and thought had gone into them. This doesn't make me a cynic, though, as I can appreciate the deadlines. Writers, and any kind of artist, need deadlines, otherwise they'd never reveal their work to the public.
All those other fan ponies. So excited!
My good but could have been better Tourette's is playing up again. Where's Teddy Safari in this crowd?
You look like a pony who'd be up for an all-inclusive, one-of-a-kind adventucation, where you get to live the Daring Do experience.
We in the Thomas the Tank Engine fandom don't have any conventions, but we don't really need them. We've got something better. Preservation railways all across the UK. There's our adventucation. Adventucation sounds like adventure and education combined.
Now this is something that only a true fan can appreciate.
I did know of Patton Oswalt before seeing this episode, so for me the ratio of guest star knowledge in MLP is about even. Patton Oswalt and Weird Al I knew, but John Delancey and Lena Hall I didn't. And I'm not getting into the announced celebrity voices in the movie slated for next year because there's quite a lot.
Because on page 84 of Sapphire Stone...
Every year at my local con, which isn't MLP specific by the way, I wind up getting friendly with fans of things I wouldn't touch with a barge pole. 2 years ago I was chatting with a steampunk enthusiast, and last year I wandered about with an Evangelion aficionado. Conventions certainly do bring people together.
I'm not saying those books don't exist, I'm saying that I refuse to acknowledge them.
Seasons 8 through 19 do not exist. You.
After Ring of Destiny that is even remotely in the realm of the possible.
What? I know for a fact that everything in every one of those books is 100% possible.
So, why does Rainbow go fangirl for Daring Do and at one time consider herself beneath her, but doesn't do the same for the Wonderbolts? Well, I'm certain that Rainbow believes, like others do, that she's as good as any Wonderbolt, and recent events prove that. I think what really impressed her about Daring Do in the first book was that Daring had a gimpy wing and was stuck on the ground, but still succeeded in finding the statue and pinching it from Azotl. For a time, if Rainbow was unable to fly, she figured she might as well down a gallon of chlorine or diet root beer. Daring Do was a source of inspiration for her to carry on, even if she was marooned.
She's sold out and dumbed down. The rest of her books, fine.
Fine!
Well, we all know why she comes here. For the nerd fights.
Just tell AK Yearling that Rainbow Dash is here, and I need her help to convince a know-it-all pony that everything Daring Do's ever done actually happened.
He's thinking of giving her keys to a hotel room with rubber wallpaper.
AK!
Rainbow, what are you looking at in here that's making you so smiley? It's just a hotel room.
Did you see him? What? It's crawling with security, and if I get into trouble, I can just blend in with all the Daring Do cosplayers.
Well, now I'm wondering how many times when I see a cosplayer, it's actually the real thing. Maybe that really was Doctor Who I saw. My Christ, he's let himself go.
Only likes your first trilogy.
Hey, it's one of Crackle's relatives.
I've got more important things to do than argue with a pony who thinks awesome means unrealistic.
I thought he was after realism.
Wait, I want to hear more about how you're 100% sure that in Curse of the Jungle Queen, Daring Do could survive 60...
I guess Fluttershy didn't draw those. She got them at a con.
Nightmare. CaliAzian.
See, now that's a great character. Backstory.
He's from book 4.
So much for not acknowledging any Daring Do book that came after the first 3, huh?
I know.
I'm gonna head back inside. There's just a little too much crazy out here for the both of us.
You know these guys are villains to the core because they didn't give their hostages the courtesy of getting their hooves stamped so they can get back into the con.
I do not know what Daring Do.
Huh. I wonder what these are.
But if she told you two fan ponies of my plan to steal the amulet...
CaliAzian!
This is the quickest case of Stockholm Syndrome I've ever seen.
This was your plan to prove the Daring Do books are realistic? You bought a Daring Do experience adventucation. Really?
You know what would be a more cost-effective interactive experience? Suppose the Daring Do stories were adapted into comic books and sold at the House of Enchanted Comics. If Spike got one of those and went into it, he'd probably become the White Cat.
Captive by CaliAzian. Please, this guy's accent is all over the place.
How do they identify accents in Equestria anyway?
So what's the setup here?
I just need the amulet.
Where's the bottom half of that guy's necktie?
Uh-huh.
Tie them up!
The Griffin's lock!
Where was it Twilight was going?
Further proof that...
I wish Princess Celestia didn't need my help with the Friendship Summit in Griffinstone.
Did CaliAzian steal that lock from the Griffinstone Community Center's mini-fridge?
I can't believe she's gonna be there!
Further proof that you are an agent of Daring Do.
A complaint that's cropped up is CaliAzian should know Rainbow's in league with Daring already, but if you go back through Daring Don't, you'll find they never really spoke or encountered each other. Rainbow Dash and her friends just stood around watching while Daring Do got duffed up. A lot of viewers thought they were disgraceful for doing so, but sometimes people are merely observers. Like that guy who got run over by a car and no one came to his aid. People said all those pedestrians were scum, but he was jaywalking. That guy.
Many thanks.
The only way to get back to the convention...
I don't know why the animators had Rainbow Dash's wristband fall off and let Quibblepants keep his. Can it be called a wristband? Ponies don't really have wrists, do they?
Now, the problems with the next book are even...
Now, surely to God, you're not going to forget you have wings. You just smack Quib in the face with yours.
Arius Rope Bridge.
Shit.
I'm all for making things feel as real as possible, but are these adventucation ponies sure this thing is safe?
I gotta wonder who sets up these bridges. What? Oh, for God's sakes.
Exactly the wrong move!
Has anyone noticed that most of the celebrity voices play Earth ponies?
Good thing this is all just a pretend adventure. You need to get your money back.
From that store clerk bitch in Griffinstone. And while you're at it, you could toss her into a septic tank and shut it with the Griffin's lock. Normally I'd complain about the waterfall cliche, but I don't mind it much here. In case you don't know, I used to go over the majority of the episodes I covered, but when the Fair Use campaign took off, I learned from various people explaining how fair use works that even if you comment, critique, and joke over most of it, it's not right to play the source material in its entirety. And while I did cut parts out in the past, my videos did tend to run the approximate length of the episodes. So a few months ago I trimmed them. I complained about the waterfall cliche in Sleepless in Ponyville and mentioned the worst offender being Pinky Apple Pie, but that was axed during the abridging process. And I'm not going to complain about my most hated cliche here, because the problem was actually in hand before we even knew the waterfall was there. Incidentally, a lot of the videos I trimmed got struck by the YouTube robot afterwards and blocked for a short time until I submitted counterclaims. One of them has me looking like this. You've heard of blue flu? This is Midas-itis.
You've led me to the temple, and Daring Do is too noble to let harm befall her companions.
What companions?
Is as good as mine.
I'm reporting you all to... Well, I don't know who I'm reporting you to, but it's gonna be some pony important.
I smell a Shadow Spade crossover.
For an experience.
It looked like that monster was wearing a wristband for a second. He could have come from the con.
This is real. You're friends with her?
Drinking buddies, to be specific.
We'll have to do introductions later, and we should probably get to it before our friend gets any higher.
Higher than Rainbow Dash? That's quite a benchmark.
Whoa. 7 doors, 7 locks. One of them leads to the treasure. I'd rather not think about what the others lead to.
Red and Black Daring Do OCs.
Maybe you should let Daring Do figure it out.
Oh, each door has another door that matches.
Again, if they had more time, they could have given the paired doors mismatched color schemes to make it less obvious and not make Daring Do look like an idiot.
These two,
Man, I'm really getting into the spirit of being a pedantic gobshite.
but this one...
Has an alicorn on it.
Behind it lies an alicorn Daring Do OC.
I've been asking myself that ever since book 4. Guys.
That septic tank we threw that dirtbag shopkeep into's ruptured.
Totally covered. There's some stairs on the other side of the temple that lead out of the ravine. I suggest you two take them and head west.
You know Firebrand's video about potential element bearers in the various alternate timelines in Cutie Remark? Someone commented saying that perhaps Daring Do would be a good candidate for the element of magic, as she deals with magical artifacts all the time and dukes it out with evil forces regularly. I remember replying saying that would make a good alternate series, especially to start out with, as Daring Do's work involves secrets and she never knows who she can trust. But sooner or later she'd have to put her trust in the other 5 bearers. I said at the time that they shouldn't be fans of her work because that'd be too easy, but that's kind of an automatic reaction I have. I don't like vidiots. But now I think it actually makes sense if 1 or 2 of them were drooling idiot fans. I haven't thought that far, but imagine in an alternate reality, a Daring Do book was released and there was a glaring continuity error in it that fans of the series complain about and castigate the author for. At least one pony in Equestria knows that the books are actually autobiographical, and they're curious about why A.K. Yearling made this mistake and speculate that she's being blackmailed by Awizodl or Cabaleron in order to prevent a disaster, and the alteration to the story compromised consistency. And the fan pony encourages 4 friends to venture to AK's home for a spot of investigating, and they discover Daring Do is being hindered in her attempts to find the elements of harmony. In the end, the 5 interlopers help her achieve her goal and defeat the blackmailer by wielding 1 element each, and Daring Do accepts these 5 as her friends, and she bases characters in her book on them, and ends each book with what friendship lesson was learned from the experiences they have. Given the settings Daring Do books have, this could potentially be a good way to blend adventure with slice of life, the way Lauren Faust had first intended Friendship is Magic to be. I'm still not sure who'd be the bookworm who sets the investigation into motion, but now that I've seen this episode, perhaps Quibblepants could be a pony who used to like Daring Do books but lost interest, and he agrees to accompany his friend anyway. That'd make him a fitting element of loyalty, no? Well, I'll be signing off now. I'm Brass Polish, thanks for watching, and... That was for that Zephyr Breeze comment, wasn't it?
So I'm sure she'd be open to...
Quibble?
Agora!